In today's tip, we hear from Mrs. Dava Leslie-Ward, Director of Consumer Protection at the Fair Trading Commission, on the topic, what is a consumer?
When we have a piece of legislation that is named the Consumer Protection Act, and invariably when you have an organization with the name the Fair Trading Commission, I am a consumer, you should help me. That's the one I get all the time, or some of the other ones. I'm a consumer, I bought something. You should be able to help me. Why can't you help me? Why doesn't the Consumer Protection Act apply in every single circumstance and for every reason? And the simple fact is that the Consumer Protection Act is a piece of legislation. Our powers are found within the legislation, and we have to look to that document to explain the types of persons who apply or qualify as consumers. We need to understand who exactly our business is so that we understand the circumstances in which any consumer issue will apply. So the first thing we need to do is to look at who qualifies as a consumer. And this is very important. I know sometimes when I do these types of presentations, people think, oh, this is splitting here. This is not splitting here. This is very important. And when you read through the case law, especially as it pertains to consumer issues, this is one of the most heated topics. The issue is usually whether or not the person qualifies as a consumer under the legislation. Now, remember, we have a general dictionary meaning of consumer. That's not what we're talking about. In order to understand if you qualify as a consumer under the legislation, you need to look to the legislation. There's usually a definition section, and it will state specifically who qualifies. So it says that in order to qualify as a consumer under the Act, you must be purchasing consumer goods or consumer services. Now, what the Act does is that the Act really focuses on the use that is being made of the goods or services. So, for example, they say it must be for private or personal use. Essentially, it must not be used in trade or commerce. Furthermore, it must not be for use in the production or manufacturing process. And additionally, you're not supposed to purchase items, repair them with the intention of reselling them. If you do those things, you are not going to qualify as a consumer. The only time that you qualify as a consumer is when you purchase something for your own personal use. So I know at Christmas time, I'm sure that I have some people in here who bake some really nice cakes and bake sweetbreads and even conkeys. Because, sometimes, and I would admit, I would concede I am one of the people who do not know how to make conkeys, and I depend very heavily on my auntie for those. And I will tell you, sometimes when I get so desperate, I might even go into Massey and buy a conky. But the reality of the situation is that when you buy your pumpkin, or if you buy your essence, or if you buy your flour with the intention of using that to make conkeys for sale, you are not a consumer for the purpose of the legislation. However, if you are making your conkeys for the purpose to share with your friends and to perhaps, in a different time, not in this time because we can't get together, but in a different time, if you are making it to share with the members of BARP, that could be for private or personal use, because your intention is not to sell them or anything of that nature. All you're doing is for personal, private use, and you're giving them as gifts. You can qualify as a consumer.